Thank you, Mr. Twigg. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I'd also like to thank the Honourable Member for Luton South for securing this really important debate and for highlighting this key issue that all of our constituents are facing. I would also like to start by paying tribute to what the voluntary sector is doing in my area, but it is just not enough. I grew up in Birmingham, where youth services was a lifeline for many young people. These services provided lifetime friendships, a place to keep warm, a place to eat, a place to do your own work, a place to play and listen to music and just talk, a place to help you develop cooking skills, a place for you to think, read, and just have time alone if that was what you wanted to do. These places do not exist today. Young people are locked in bedrooms on their computers through no fault of their own. It is undoubtedly one of the hardest times in history to be a young person. Living through the COVID pandemic, struggling with the cost of living and unable to afford to rent or buy. That's why it is vital that we invest in youth services and support. Since the last Labour government, real term spending on youth services, as highlighted earlier, has fallen by 73%, which equates to £1.1 billion loss. Since 2011, youth services operated by local authorities have fallen by 53%, and since 2012 there has been a 35% reduction in full-time equivalent youth workers employed by local authorities in England. At the same time, and under the same Tory government, child poverty has soared. It is shameful that 4.2 million children are now growing up in poverty in the UK, and that is 9 children in a classroom of 30 who were growing up without consistent access to warm homes, a warm dinner or a warm coat. Like many colleagues here, I have been contacted by numerous constituents about how their children are facing the cost of living crisis. My constituent contacted me as her disability means that she can't walk her children to school and the school isn't able to assist with pickups. As a single parent, all of her income goes on paying for a house that leaks, rising gas and energy bills, and a high premium on her car insurance. She constantly is cut off by the gas supplier, who takes days to switch it back on, after she has spent ages on the phone to them. She is using her local food bank as she is spending all she has on trying to keep her home warm. It is a sad fact that this case isn't unique to Erdington, let alone the rest of the UK. Each of these circumstances are reasons why constituents like mine need access to better funded child services, to give her and her children the support they so desperately need. In 2021-22, and I know later figures have been highlighted earlier, the West Midlands was the region spending the least on young people's services, spending an average of £33 per every 11 to 19-year-old, compared to the region, the East Midlands, where £77 was spent, and 8 councils since 2018 have used a Section 114 notice which notifies of severe financial distress. The Tories have wrecked our economy, plunging Britain into recession, and it's left to underfunded councils to pick up the pieces. That is why it is welcome that the government's response to their youth review provided further details on plans to level up and expand access to youth provision through a youth guarantee. However, people in my community know these promises too well. It seems everywhere the government promises to level up gets left behind, just like communities like Erdington, King's Standing and Castle Vale. Make no mistake, people in constituencies across the country will be holding the government to these pledges. It's what children in our communities deserve. Labour has a plan to break down the barriers to opportunity for young people and child poverty reduction specialists at the heart of our plans to support people from every background. There is absolutely no question about the value of youth services, which provide huge amounts of support and care for young people across the country. They don't just need to be funded properly, but also sustained long-term and accessible to everyone, regardless of their background. Our young people deserve the best, which is what they will get under a Labour government. I am confident that they would. Thank you, Mr. Twigg. Thank you, Chair.